All right. Can you guys see this okay? Great. I'm going to put the lesson in the Zoom chat for everyone. Follow along. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about Elastic or AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So we finally got to get in some DevOpsy kind of stuff. So today's a pretty fun lesson. I don't think it's overly complicated, but it is a little bit new. So let's have some fun with it. Can I get a volunteer to read this first paragraph, please?
AWS Elastic Beanstalk is a fully managed service that makes it easy to deploy, run, and scale web applications and services. It automatically handles and deploys the deployment details, capacity provisioning, load balancing, and automatic scaling of the application, thereby allowing developers to focus on writing code rather than managing infrastructure.
Absolutely. So AWS Elastic Beanstalk is a cloud service offered by AWS that pretty much spins up all your networking needs on the back end. You don't have full control of all that stuff, so it's good for like testing and stuff. Say you have a web application and you just want to see what it looks like in a browser, and you just want to spin it up real quick. Then you can use Elastic Beanstalk to kind of have them handle all that stuff on the backside, um, and allow quick and easy access to throw it up. So what are we trying to accomplish? Learning Elastic Beanstalk streamlines web development by simply or simplifying deployment, auto scaling, and monitoring processes. Understanding it equips developers with a valuable skill set to effectively manage web applications, enhancing productivity and scalability. In short, teaching Elastic Beanstalk offers practical knowledge and essential for modern web development processes. That is absolutely true. It is pretty easy to set up. There is some setup requirements that need to be done beforehand, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. Can I get another volunteer to read this introduction to Elastic Beanstalk?
That's actually the same text.
Or is it? Oh, look at that. It is. So anyways, so Elastic Beanstalk actually it supports a bunch of programming different languages. Here's a bunch right here: Java, Python, Ruby, Node. Some of these you may have heard of, some of these you may not have. But it does support a wide variety. For each of these programming languages, Elastic Beanstalk provides pre-configured environments and platform-specific deployment options. This allows developers to quickly deploy and scale their application without having to worry about managing. Oh, I think that part was in the README as well. I'll have to go back and do some cleanup of this. But anyways, how does Elastic Beanstalk work? High-level overview of how AWS Elastic Beanstalk works and its components. So first, you choose a platform. This is the first step in using Elastic Beanstalk, is to choose a platform that fits your application. So it pretty much just means what programming language are you going to be using. Is it going to be a Docker application, Java, Python, etc. Upload your code. Once you choose a platform, you can upload your code to Elastic Beanstalk. Elastic Beanstalk uses the application code to create an environment that it uses or includes the necessary servers and services to run on your application. Yeah, you're also using Git. You just create like a Git repository, and Elastic Beanstalk uses that to be able to upload it. So, anyways. Provision resources. Elastic Beanstalk automatically provisions the necessary resources such as an EC2 instance, relational database services, Elastic load balancers to support your application. It uses best practices to configure these resources based on your application requirements, such as number of instances and the size of the database. So that's pretty cool. It takes a lot of the heavy lifting away from you guys, so you don't really have to do anything. However, this is more of a testing kind of environment, kind of situation. Typically in like production or whatever, you want to manage your own resources. That way you have full control and autonomy over everything you're creating. Yeah, let's continue. So deploy and manage your application. Elastic Beanstalk deploys your application to the environment and monitors it for you. It automatically handles common tasks such as scaling the environment up or down based on traffic, replacing unhealthy instances, and rolling out updates without downtime. Elastic Beanstalk also provides tools for monitoring, troubleshooting your application's performance. So it does a whole bunch behind the scenes, which is very awesome. Just makes your development a lot quicker. Just another tool to know about. Components of Elastic Beanstalk, you have an application, you have an environment, a version, configuration, and a solution stack. So an application is an Elastic Beanstalk application is a logical container for your application code, environments, and versions. I'll show you guys it later. An environment, Elastic Beanstalk environment is a version of your application that is running on a set of resources such as EC2 instances, database, and load balancers. The version, Elastic Beanstalk version, is a specific snapshot of your application code that can be deployed to an environment. Configuration is a set of settings and options where you define pretty much any kind of configuration that you guys have seen in the past. It's where you keep all your settings and details about what you're deploying. Solution stack is a pre-configured set of software that can be used to run applications. Each solution stack includes a web server, application server, or other necessary software to run the application. So pretty much it just runs everything in the background for you. Easy peasy. There are some pros and cons though. Does someone want to read this first line so I can get some water?
Easy to use. Elastic Beanstalk simplifies the process of deploying and managing web applications on AWS by automating many common tasks such as provisioning resources, deploying code, and handling scaling and availability.
Awesome, thank you, Flo. It is also flexible. Elastic Beanstalk supports a variety of platforms and frameworks, allowing developers to choose the tools that best fits their application. It does scale. So Elastic Beanstalk automatically scales your application up and down based on traffic, ensuring that you have necessary resources needed to handle spikes in traffic without having to manually provision resources. So just another reason that is a quick and easy option. It is cost effective. It's not going to blow your account or like blow your bank account. It's not going to be too crazy. But it does optimize resource usage, allowing you to save money by only paying for resources you actually use. It is highly available. Pretty much means it has a lot of uptime. It does support monitoring logging. It is pretty secure. Elastic Beanstalk includes security features such as network isolation, encryption, ensuring that your application and data are protected. And as most AWS services are, it is highly compatible with everything on AWS. So what are the disadvantages? Those all sound like great things, right? So here's this is a huge one right here. You lose a lot of control, right? Like you're not provisioning your own infrastructure resources to stand all this up on, which is a big part of this cohort is to learn how to do that. And so that's why I say using Elastic Beanstalk is more of a testing environment kind of thing. Anyways, complexity. While Elastic Beanstalk simplifies many aspects of deploying and managing web applications, it could also be complex to configure and customize certain scenarios. Yeah, because you lose a lot of flexibility, so it can make it more complex. Cost. While Elastic Beanstalk can be cost effective in many ways, it could also be more expensive than managing infrastructure directly in certain scenarios, especially if you need fine-grained control over resource usage. That's a big one right here, fine-grained control over resources. So do note that in. So lock-in, using Elastic Beanstalk to make it more difficult to migrate to another platform or provider since it abstracts away many aspects of the underlying infrastructure. That's very true. Say you have an application that is running on Elastic Beanstalk and you want to switch over to, let's say, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Oracle doesn't, it's like Elastic Beanstalk is only an AWS thing. So if you try to migrate it all over, you're going to lose all that infrastructure. You have to just spin it up yourself or use a service that another cloud provider offers to be able to have the same kind of performance. So anyways, platform limitations. Elastic Beanstalk supports a variety of platforms, but it may not support every platform or version. Yes, pretty much the same as lock-in. But overall, while Elastic Beanstalk can be a powerful tool on deploying and managing web applications on AWS, it may not be best suited for every scenario. It is important to carefully evaluate the pros and cons of Elastic Beanstalk and consider your specific requirements for deciding whether to use it. Okay, so I know that was a lot of reading, but now we're going to get into the fun part of actually doing the thing. So this is the hands-on lab deploying a Python Flask application on AWS Elastic Beanstalk. In this tutorial, you'll be taking a very simple Python Flask application code and deploy it using Elastic Beanstalk. Someone wanna volunteer to read this paragraph for me, please?
Python Flask is a popular and lightweight web framework for building web applications in Python. It is designed to be simple and flexible with a minimalistic approach to web development. Flask is known for its easy-to-use routing system, template engine, and support for extensions that add additional functionality to the framework. Flask is also highly customizable, allowing developers to create web applications with a wide range of features and functionalities. Because it is written in Python, Flask benefits from the Flask ecosystem of Python libraries and modules, which can be easily integrated into Flask applications. Overall, Flask is a versatile and popular choice for building web applications in Python.
Awesome, thank you for that, Len. Okay, so for this, I know a lot of people like to follow along. This one may not be the best one to follow along on, since there are some long processes for some of them. However, you can try. I'm not going to stop you. Here, let me just move this over here. Let me actually just split screen this. That'd probably be the best way to do it. Oops. There's probably some kind of shortcut in Windows to like split screen it really quick, but I don't know Windows that well since I'm usually a Mac kind of guy.
Yeah, you just drag it all the way to the left or all the way to the right, and it should try to snap in there.
Oh, okay. I don't think that really worked. I'll have to experiment with that later. Anyways, so we'll just do that. And then bust out a terminal right here. Well, there we go. All right, cool. So in a terminal, let's just go ahead and create a directory to start off. So I don't know, what is this, like day or week? Something? I don't know. We'll just call this EB tutorial. Sure. And let's just CD into it. So change directory into EB tutorial. Okay, so now we have a empty directory. There's nothing in it. So here's some basic, everyone's kind of familiar with this, right? So let's just copy over some Python code. So to do that, I'm just going to do VI, use the Vim editor, and then I'm going to call it application.py. This takes me to my empty file. So I'll hit I for insert mode, and then I will just paste it all in there. Escape, colon, WQ. If I go too fast, guys, like please stop me. I don't mind taking longer or answering questions or anything. So if this is a little too fast paced, please say something. That'd be great. So anyways, so we just created our application.py. It's going to hold our most basic application. So so now we need to create a requirements.txt file with only Flask in it. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll just do a vi requirements.txt. Same thing, insert mode. We'll paste all this stuff in there. Oop, that's the wrong stuff. I don't want that. One second, let me just delete all of that. This is the requirements.txt, so the only thing I want in here is Flask. And we can just leave it simple as that. If you don't put it like a version or anything, it just defaults to the latest, which is fine for our use case scenario. The next step is to initialize a Git repository. So let's just do a git init. And as you can see, it says initialized empty Git repository, which is exactly what we want. And we have to commit it. So let's do a git add all to add it. And we could do a git commit -m and make, I don't know, we just say git init in here. We're going to do a couple more things. So as you can see, we have our files now committed to our repository. Good. So here is a link right here that'll show you how to install the Elastic Beanstalk CLI. So you guys can just go through here to install it. I believe if you're on Windows, you can just do like a pip install. Was it like AWS? I think it's just AWS EB CLI. So let's go ahead and first create our virtual environment, and then we can install our dependencies. So to do that, we'll just do a Python 3 and then -M for make. We want a virtual environment, and let's call it VENV. Cool. And might take a second. There we go. Quick question. Does anyone know how to actually activate or like open up into their virtual environment?
Are you referring to like the source and then going to your directory and all that stuff, or are you talking about on AWS?
Exactly. No, exactly. Hit it on the nose. So you actually source it. So you do a source VNV, bin, and then activate. And as you can see, we are now inside our virtual environment.
You just got to be in the directory of the VNV or be able to navigate to it in the path.
Yes. Yeah.
But you can do it from another folder or the directory if you know the path.
Yeah,
Tilde
yeah,
and
you can.
then
You just have to put the path here, and then that's fine. But either way, you're gonna have to source it, and it'll run like this little activate file, which will put like make a virtual environment for you. Yeah, anyways, so now I don't want to install Elastic Beanstalk AWS CLI on like everything else. That's why we have a virtual environment. I believe it's also a requirement. So anyways, let's go ahead and install it. So let's do a pip install AWS EB CLI. I believe that's it. Looks correct. Anyways, here's the link for everything for installing, getting your virtual environment set up if you don't already have it installed. Anyways, so we've now created our we've installed the dependency of the AWS Elastic Beanstalk CLI command line interface. So let's just go and put this virtual environment in our .eb_ignore, which is the same as like a .get_ignore, but it's for
Hey,
Elastic
Reno,
Beanstalk. Sorry, what
Reno,
was
what was
that?
that last command? The pip install.
Yep, pip install AWS EB CLI. Yep, but it should be in here too, under the manual installation and Windows or whatever box you're using. But it should be in here somewhere. Yeah, right here. AWS CLI.
Got it.
Cool. Anyways, so let's go ahead and add our virtual environment to our Elastic Beanstalk ignore file because we don't need to add any of that stuff to it. So we can just do an echo and then PNV. So that's calling the file name. And then if you do this little caret, it just puts it into that file. So we can do .eb. Cool. We do an ls, and we can see our VNV. But if we do an ls-a, we can see our .eb_ignore. And if we want to see the contents of that, we just do a cat eb_ignore. And you can see the virtual environment is indeed inside of that file. Yep, so that's pretty cool. If you guys haven't seen that before, using a caret to actually add stuff into a file. Cool. So now that we have Elastic Beanstalk installed, we need to initialize it. So we do that by running the eb init command, and a bunch of cool stuff will happen. So it'll ask us to pull up our region. I don't know, let's go Virginia. So we'll hit 1. Application to use, I don't know, let's just say EB demo. It's not a valid, choose a number. Okay, we'll just go 1 for Elastic Beanstalk. Do you wish to continue with code commit? Yes, I do. Select the repository. We'll do 1 again. Default is master, so I'm just going to hit enter. Username for this, I believe it's just my name, Reno, and then plug in my password. Oh, 1 second, I'm putting in the wrong password. 1 second, let me go grab that for a second. And there we go. What happened there? I don't know what happened there. Anyways, let's do EV init again. And we'll start it over. What happened there? Did it init all right? Do you wish to continue with code commit? Yes. Do one. And we'll do master again. Username is Reno. Password is this. Warning, you're about to paste the contact multiple lines. I don't think I'm copying it right then. It's like, okay. Could not set commit branch, run with debug. Am I not logging in correctly? So we get branch, master, get status. Oh, okay. Let's do a git add and we'll push it up again. We'll not push it, but we'll just commit it. Dash and let's just say, I don't know, Elastic Beanstalk init. Cool. There's a lot of stuff in there. Cool. Anyways, so let's do the EV init again. Elastic Beanstalk. Oh, I see flows on here. Oops. Copy that again. Cannot set code commit branch, run with debug to get the full error. Okay. Why could it not take that? Anyways, so I'll have to debug this offline, why it's not accepting my code branch. However, I did do this earlier. And so after you do the init, then this just shows like some configuration stuff that it just create when you do the EB init, it creates this config.yaml file and it holds all your configurations in here. So that's just something cool to know about. Anyways, so after that happens, you're able to run a EB create, and then so that'll actually create it all, and it'll show up here in the console. So if you just go to Elastic Beanstalk, oops, that's actually I'm not in the console there. 1 second, let me bring this over. Add it here. Okay, so we're in the AWS console and we'll change the region to Virginia. And so it'll actually create this application right here. So after you hit the create, and then you can name it whatever you want. So if you make any changes though, say you, I don't know, want to change out and add stuff, you can just run EB deploy and it will deploy it back again. And then, so if you want to, it takes a minute, it takes, I don't know, like 3 or 5 minutes to actually, like create this application and provision it. But if you want to actually see it working, you can hit this. Oops, 1 second. Let me maximize this so I can actually see what I'm doing. So hit the application name and here's the domain within it. And you can see here's the application running live on the web. Does anyone have any questions on Elastic Beanstalk? There's a little legwork to get everything set up and running. But other than that, I think it's pretty straightforward. You just initialize it, you create it, and if you make any changes, then you deploy it to update it. Does anyone have any questions about that?
I guess I have one question. Is it possible to see what it actually created beyond like there's like what individual pieces of the, like let's say in this you want to build like some sort of, oh no, is this, oh that's cool. Okay. Yeah. It's kind of what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted.
So yeah, as everything else in AWS, like you could always go through the stuff. You can check out the health and the logging, monitor. You could set up you could set up different alarms and create stuff. You could also, add tags to it and do whatever you want with the tags. Pretty much, there's loads of varieties what you can do with different tags. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, you can run through all these. But it does create all the networking infrastructure on the backside, so you don't get to see that part if that's what you're asking about. But it does keep a log of everything you do. Yep, here's your application, your environment, and so forth. But yeah, like if you wanted to have like multiple environments, you would do like different branches. Is a way you can do it. You could have like a dev branch and a production branch, a testing branch, whatever, and have all these different environments and kind of deploy it through that. Um, yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Paige.
No, it definitely did. Thanks.
Mhm. Yeah. Any other questions before I stop the recording? Cool. All right.